You open the car wash at 7 a.m. every morning. You do this because you have to. The lease on the equipment is due on the 15th. The 2 employees you have left get paid on Fridays. The water bill for a car wash is something nobody warns you about when you're signing the business plan, and yours has been overdue for 6 weeks. You inherited the place from your uncle 3 years ago. He made it work for 20 years. You assumed you would too. You assumed wrong. The neighborhood changed. A franchise opened 4 blocks away. New machines, loyalty app, $8 basic wash. You can't compete with that on price, and you can't afford to compete on equipment. Every month, you're a little further behind. You're not stupid. You have a business degree from a state school and 10 years of watching your uncle run this place. You know exactly what the numbers mean. You just don't know how to change them. Then, a man named Carlos starts coming in every Tuesday. He's not remarkable. Mid-40s, drives a clean white F-150, always pays cash, always tips well. He chats while he waits. He asks about the business. You tell him the truth because there's no reason not to. The franchise down the street, the equipment lease, the water bill. He listens like someone who understands cash flow problems because he has had them. One Tuesday, he doesn't leave when his truck is done. He asks if you have 10 minutes. You do. You always do. He explains it simply. He has associates who need a business that processes a lot of cash transactions. A car wash is perfect. High volume, variable daily totals, mostly anonymous customers. His associates would send cash. You would run it through the register as normal wash revenue. You'd keep 15% of everything that moves through. He slides a number on a napkin across the table. Monthly. Guaranteed. You look at the number. You look at the water bill on your desk. You tell him you need to think about it. You think about it for 3 days. You know what it is. You're not confused about what it is. You just keep doing the math, and the math keeps coming out the same way. You call him on a Thursday. The first month is almost insultingly simple. A man drops off a bag on Monday morning before you open. Always a different man, always a different car, always the same black duffel. You count it in the back office. You log it in a second notebook, not the real books, the other one. Throughout the week, you feed it through the register in increments. Tuesday is a busy day. Wednesday too. By Friday, the bag is empty and the register matches a number that looks like a good week for a car wash. You deposit it in 3 separate amounts across 2 banks. Nothing over $9,000. Carlos explained this without explaining it, just told you to keep deposits under that number and spread them around. You looked it up later. Structuring. Federal crime. You filed that away and kept going. The 15% hits your personal account on the last day of every month. The water bill gets paid, the equipment lease gets paid. You hire back the employee you had to let go in January. For the first time in 3 years, the numbers go in the right direction. You don't think about Carlos's associates. You think about the water bill with a 0 balance. You think about the employee you rehired, who has 2 kids and took a second job when you had to let him go and never complained about it once. You think about your uncle, who ran this place for 20 years on legitimate revenue and died leaving almost nothing. You think about what he would say. You decide you know what he would say, and you decide that's not a useful thing to think about. You close the second notebook. You go back out front. A customer is waiting. By month 4, you've gotten good at the texture of it. You know how to make the revenue look real. You vary the daily totals, not too consistent because consistency is a flag. You inflate the detail packages on slow days, add a few dozen full-service washes to the log that never happened. You learn that a cash-heavy service business has a natural variance that covers a lot if you distribute it right. Mondays are always slower. Saturdays are always busy. You build a pattern that looks like a real business because it is a real business, just with extra. You start to think of it as 2 jobs, the car wash, which you run well, and the other thing, which you run better. Carlos notices. He tells you his associates are happy. He asks if you'd be open to more volume. You say yes before you finish thinking about it. The monthly number goes up. So does the 15%. A year in, you want to expand. Not for them, for you. There's a second location available 2 miles away. Better traffic, newer neighborhood. You've always wanted 2 locations. Your uncle always said 2 locations was the difference between a job and a business. You talk to a bank. You have good revenue numbers. Genuinely good. The books look excellent because you've been meticulous. The loan officer is impressed. You're approved. You open the second location in the spring. New equipment, proper signage, a loyalty app of your own. You hire 4 people. You feel, for the first time since you signed that first lease, like you built something real. This is the part that gets you. Not the crime, the pride. You walk through the second location the week it opens and you feel something your uncle must have felt. Something legitimate and earned. New equipment, clean lines, 4 people on payroll who got the job because you created it. You did that. You know where the capital came from. You know exactly where it came from. But the location is real. The jobs are real. The customers who pull in that first week because the neighborhood needed a good car wash, they're real. You've learned that real and clean are not always the same thing. You file that away next to everything else. Then Carlos calls. His associates want to use the new location too. You say yes. Of course you say yes. The second location has a lease and equipment payments and 4 new employees on Fridays. 2 years in, you have a problem you didn't anticipate. You can't tell what's real anymore. The books look good across both locations. The revenue is strong. But you actually don't know, what percentage of it is legitimate. The real customers, the real washes, the real detail packages have grown because the locations are genuinely good and the neighborhood noticed. But the other volume has grown too, and it's all in the same register now, and you've been so careful about making it blend that it blends perfectly. A real accountant, a good one, could probably separate it. You don't hire that accountant. You already know what you'd find. The DEA visits in October. Not a raid. 2 agents, business cards, very polite. They're looking into cash-intensive businesses in the area. Routine financial compliance review. They ask about your deposit patterns, your average daily volume, whether you've noticed any unusual activity in the area. You answer everything calmly. You offer them coffee. You show them the books, the real books, the ones that look perfect because you made them look perfect. You've thought about this conversation 100 times. You've rehearsed it the way you used to rehearse presentations in business school. You know which numbers to point to and which questions to answer fully and which to answer just enough. They leave without incident. They thank you for your time. The younger one gives you his card and says, "Don't hesitate to call if you notice anything." Carlos calls 20 minutes later. He already knows they came. He tells you not to worry. You're clean. You're careful. They have nothing. He's right. You are careful. But the fact that he called 20 minutes later means he has someone watching. It means he's always had someone watching. The car wash, the deposits, the second location, the DEA visit. He's been watching all of it the entire time. You understand then what 15% actually bought. It didn't make you a partner, it made you an asset. There's a difference. A partner has leverage, an asset has a price, and an asset that becomes inconvenient gets written off. You think about the younger agent's card on your desk. You think about what using it would mean. You'd have to explain the structuring, the second notebook, 2 years of deposits under $9,000 at 2 different banks. You'd have to explain that you knew exactly what you were doing from the first Tuesday Carlos didn't leave when his truck was done. You put the card in your dresser drawer. You close a drawer. You think about stopping. You think about what stopping looks like. You close the second location, you cut the volume, you tell Carlos you're out. You've thought through the conversation. You've thought through what comes after it. Here's the problem. The DEA visit wasn't the last one. There will be another. And when they look hard enough at 2 car washes with unusually clean books and very good revenue in average neighborhoods, they'll find the structuring, the deposits under $9,000, the pattern that looks careful because it is careful. You did this too well to pretend you didn't know what you were doing. You can't go to the DEA because you're already in the books. You can't walk away from Carlos because walking away from Carlos isn't the thing that works the way you'd need it to. You can't sell the business because selling it means someone looks at everything, and someone will look at everything. The second location has 4 employees. The first location has 3. 7 people who show up on Fridays because you made payroll. You think about them more than you should, more than is rational. You open the car wash at 7 a.m. on a Monday. A different man, a different car, the same black duffel. You carry it to the back office. You count it. You open the second notebook. The numbers still go in the right direction. For now, that has to be enough.